Welcome to Unit 6 of EDSE 510. You'll see here that we have many different topics that we'll be working on in Unit 6, and the most important focus for your deliverable for this unit, a one-week unit, will be the You Be the Judge assignment. There is not a discussion this week, so as far as things that you'll be turning in for points, the main focus here is You Be the Judge. And I'm thrilled that we've gotten to this point in the course because in my opinion, You Be the Judge is one of the most fun and creative and unique assignments that we have. So we'll be discussing it later on in this video, and I'm excited to introduce it to you. As mentioned here, we've got some assigned reading in the Yell text. We are going to be working on ESSA, and I'll be referring to that as ESSA, which is a little easier to say. So we'll be talking through what that exactly is and what it means, along with what is necessary for the You Be the Judge assignment. So, a written lecture here regarding the concept of due process. There are several different links for you down below, but this is the idea of parents or guardians having the right, as always, to go through a litigation process with a school district if there is a concern that arises, and we've talked about the legal process for special education a little bit in this course already. So more information here is provided for you regarding due process. And not only due process and these complaints and where this might go, but also what we can do to perhaps prevent things from moving in that legal or litigious direction. This is a website called Cadre. If you're not familiar with it yet, I strongly encourage you to check it out. Cadre stands for the Center for Appropriate Dispute Resolution in Special Education, and you can learn about the different stages where we're working through conflicts or issues that arise. So obviously for stage 1, we want to know about prevention. How can we prevent conflicts and problems coming up between families and schools in special education? And then obviously we move into conflict and more information regarding the legal components if we do get to that point. So you can go through the stages here on the Cadre website. But I love this prevention section. Obviously, that's exciting. So you can see some different models that are used across states or in different areas just to develop that practice of family engagement, which ultimately would reduce the conflict that might occur later and lead to some litigation or some other more complex concerns. So obviously training, collaboration. That personally is my favorite part of the Cadre website because it's just so great to see all the things that we can do for prevention, to be proactive before we run into those high conflict situations. But of course, all the stages are important, so you can read through those and become more familiar with the legal component as well. Ooh, another interesting thing actually down here at the bottom is a list of due process hearings in special education. So if you ever have some free time and just want to go through some of these, there are PDF documents with more information regarding some due process hearings that have occurred. So that's with the U.S. Department of Education, different documents that you can open up. Also, the procedural safeguards, information that we provide to all parents and guardians during the IEP process, and that is a part of the legal requirement. Schools need to make that information very clear at all times to families. And the procedural safeguards then can move into a discussion of due process, the complaint filing, resolution meetings that may occur. And so this is a presentation for you, and you can look through the various slides to learn about the expectations, rules, and regulations that do surround due process and related components. This is also an interesting document. It is PDF form. It is a document called 10 Ways to Avoid a Special Education Court Case. And this is a document provided to us from Francie Murray. And Dr. Francie Murray is a professor here at UNC. So it's great to have her work here This is, in bold, you can see different ways to help us to avoid this litigation and some other preventative and proactive measures. So planning ahead for the IEP meetings, obviously always the least restrictive environment, making sure that we're keeping that as a priority no matter what. A law-based discipline or consequence plan, so that can be related to the behavior intervention plan. If you're getting into a manifestation determination situation where behavior has become such a problem that the child's access might be impacted, and at that point we need to look into what's going on here. Is this a manifestation of the disability and the need of the child as indicated in the IEP and by the evaluations? Or is this behavior that perhaps is not related clearly to that disability? And that will help us to decide as a school and as an entity how to handle that. Obviously, we're responsible for providing a free and appropriate public education. So that would be that FAPE component. Many different bullet points here in this document on how to best do that. But parent-school partnership, the connections with families, with parents and guardians, as mentioned on the Cadre website, if we go back there, it is under Continuum, the first stage. So that is the prevention, and it ties back to this 10 ways document. And ultimately, options for alternate dispute resolution. So what else can be done? You can see down final bullet here, go to the Cadre website. So you've been referred back to there once again. Obviously, this is a valuable resource. And as I mentioned, resource, you actually have a tab called resources. So you then can review what they provide. And actually, we do have webinars here. Kind of interesting. Mediation is another part of this and is something that you can learn about. There's a flyer provided here from the Colorado Department of Education for parents and guardians, so families can look into this. This would be a neutral third party that's coming to help to resolve a conflict. And so this can be, as mentioned here, some benefits. Could be faster or easier than going to court, and this would be a trained mediator, somebody who can help with the conflict resolution. So that's kind of an interesting brochure to check out as we become familiar with these various processes that can be related to conflict and conflict resolution in special education and those procedural safeguards and parent-guardian rights. Cadre website, as mentioned before. There is a paper here regarding IDEA and ESSA. And this is also a consideration. It does mention No Child Left Behind, which has been updated, of course. And the next section in the module will talk about that. So this is just information for you regarding these acts and connections amongst them. So here we've got ESSA, which is the Every Student Succeeds Act. We've also got some links to several different videos and kind of the history of this law and where it's come from and how it's grown. So the same law reauthorized and renamed over time, and the most present version would be ESSA. This is a beautiful page in the module, so please check out this attachment. This is about statutory versus case law. We have talked about it. This is some reading for you to review, but we've talked about it earlier in this course. And this we care about now more than ever because we're moving into the You Be the Judge assignment. So remember, statutory law, those are some of the regulations that you have cited, and you've been learning about the symbols and periods and numbers and how to integrate those into your writing and to reference the letter of the law itself. Case law would be the various cases that have had rulings over time, and those can be found very easily. Reference rights law. I would say that's the best place to go. And in fact, if you go to rights law and you can just type into Google rights law, case law, you will find special education case law here. And as you scroll down, you can see links to different decisions that have been made. So this is a good place to start. Supreme Court decisions, as we can see, some of them are from a long time ago. We go back to Brown versus the Board of Education, obviously a very important case. Courts of Appeals. So these are different things you can read. As you can see, there's a lot of detail included, but you might find one that's relevant to what you're talking about and you be the judge. And this is the article. You'll see it cited in the prompt, and that is Hirsch and Johansson. So it does include information on the Rowley case here. There is a test, I'll just hit on it real quickly right now, called the Rowley test. And basically, these are two questions that we have to ask ourselves. So we need to have compliance with everything set forth in IDEA. And so when we are looking at a special education case and trying to decide, what's going on here, this Rowley test is going to become very important for us. So the first question we ask is, has the state complied with procedures set forth in the Act? In the Act, of course, we're referencing IDEA. So has the state complied with those procedures? Is the school doing those things? And then, is the resulting IEP reasonably calculated for the child to receive educational benefit? So A, are we in compliance? And B, is the compliant IEP that we just referenced providing reasonable educational benefit for the child? And if the answer to both questions is yes, then as you can see, the article reminds us that the free and appropriate public education has provided. If the answer to either of these questions is no, then we do have a problem and we're in error. And that can obviously cause a lot of different issues, but ultimately the problem would be that we're doing a disservice to the student, and that's our main concern. So as long as we keep our priority there and think through the Rowley test for everything that we're doing and all the decisions that we're making, we can remain in compliance and help students to be successful in every way possible. This is an optional page with some links, cases related to Colorado. So that can be kind of relevant if you are in Colorado. There are also links to other states that you can review, and there is one provided there for Florida, just to show you that there are those across other states. Additional reading for ESSA, if you have interest in that. But here's where we come to you be the judge. So bottom line, you will be acting as the hearing officer. You're the judge in the analysis of a case. So you're going to read through the entire court case and make a judgment or a ruling. And when you read it, that'll make more sense. You need to make a decision and then support it. So you can see letter C is that we need to cite case law, and we need to use APA format, of course, 7th edition, to do those references. Cite case law, but not only case law, also the law itself, the statutory law and the regulations. So make sure you're citing IDEA, and we need to accurately cite those regulations. And then we're going to cite case law to support when we don't have a regulation that necessarily fits what we're talking about. So please include both. It is essential that both of these are included. And the analysis for the case will be 3 to 5 pages, and you'll be writing, again mentioned here, discuss each federal regulations and the case law. Okay, Yale obviously is a great place to go, but I mentioned Wright's Law as well, so you can use any reliable sources to support your statements. And then you'll be addressing each of the questions, and the questions are included in the document for the case. And each of these will be a heading in your paper, so those bold centered headings for each issue or question. And we'll take a look at the issues and questions in the document. But you need to make sure that your ruling is really clear. So here is the you be the judge. General information about the case. And we've got all the case detail about what's going on. So this is several pages that you'll look through. You can see there are no names in here. So you'll just refer to the child as student. Lots of information regarding some pretty significant events. And down below, you'll see the issues referenced right here after the yellow. So issue number 1, are parents entitled to reimbursement for things that you will have read about previously? Has the student been eligible under the category of SED from this given date? And 3, 4, and 5, there are several different questions. So this is where your ruling will be occurring, and you'll need to provide the case law and the federal law that you're citing to support your statements. So as always, you're looking at the rubric using the law, and that'll be both case law and federal. You need a really strong presence of both. And then obviously the APA format. Let me know if you have questions. This is a supportive article for you, so it can help you to prepare for this assignment. And good luck. I look forward to reading your work.